Hello, good morning, ahoy there again. It's, what are we, 7:05, and we're in Old Delhi. We're outside the Red Fort. It's a bit of a change in location from where we normally go. We normally go somewhere a bit more peaceful than this for our morning walks. But I wanted to show you this, what it's like here first thing in the morning. Certainly different from Kuching, you'll see for yourself in a bit. So this is the Red Fort in Old Delhi. That's the fort just across the street there. It's a really busy road, really busy part of town. Old Delhi is a fascinating place to go. That when I first got it I thought was the Red Fort. It's not. It's a temple that's painted red. But the Red Fort is across the road over there. It's big. It's a really big fort. It's very, very old. It's got a fantastic history to it, and if you ever come here I really recommend a trip to it because just go through these gates here. There's a lot of history in there, and they do an amazing light show at the end of every day. It's like a light and hologram show. Really worth going to, and it's not expensive to go in. So this here is Chandni Chowk. It's believe it or not quite quiet at the moment because it's so early in the morning. As the day goes on, I probably wouldn't bring you down here because it takes ages to walk down here. It's so crowded. It's like I've seen other people say it before. Traffic jams happen here. The first time I ever came here, it's 2 years ago. I'd never been to India before. I woke up in the morning and I said to a tuk-tuk driver, I said, look, I've never been to India before. I've heard it gets a bit busy, especially in Delhi. Take me to the busiest street in Delhi you can think of. And he brought me here, and he stopped at the end of the road up there, where we just came from. He stopped there and said, I'll stay here and wait for you. I'll be like 30 minutes. He said, walk down there and come back in 30 minutes. And if you haven't been robbed, I'll still be here. And I thought, oh God, what am I doing? What am I doing here? You know, this is going to be terrible. So I did it. I walked all the way along. I walked quite a long way along here for 30 minutes, and I thought, wow, it was such an assault on the senses, like the sight, sound. It really did bombard me. But it was almost narcotic. There was a narcotic element to it, where it was like, my senses have never been so on fire. And I loved it. I really, really, I can't express enough how much I thought it was just living. Anyway, I didn't get robbed. Didn't get robbed at all. What I did get was, I got to about here-ish, where we are now, a bit further up, and this really old man came up to me, and he was like something from the Bible times. He had like a wooden stick and white clothing, like white robes on. But he came up and I thought, oh, it's a beggar, obviously. He came up and he said, hello, how are you? I said, oh, hi, fine, thanks. And just started chatting, like really, like having a nice little chat. And he pointed up at a window, like these windows up here. He pointed, hey guys, Sat Sri Akal, how you doing? Good to see you. And he pointed up at this window, started shouting, and I thought, oh, what on earth is going on here? Suddenly this old woman appeared, and he starts shouting up at her in Hindi. She comes down, and he says, oh, this is my wife. And she had a cup of tea and an orange, and he said, I want you to have this. And we sat on one of these walls where those chaps were, just back there. We were like drinking tea and eating this orange. And we had a really nice chat, and he was telling me, oh, I've got a grandson he's at university in the UK, and he just sat there talking, like, you know, putting the world to rights and chatting away, just like an old man would on a park bench, you know. Sorry, man. Just like an old man on a park bench. And then all of a sudden he just went, well, I'm bored talking to you now. He got up and, you know, buggered off. But really sweet guy, really nice encounter. And I've seen a lot of that here. So all of this about, you know, oh, don't go down there, you'll get robbed. I've brought guests down here before and showed it to them. Admittedly, it was at night, and they didn't take to it. They really didn't like it. They were saying it's too busy, it's too... I think they found it a bit almost aggressive, but no one was being aggressive. It was just that amount of people en masse, if you're not used to it. I mean, I'll show you, as I say, this is Sunday morning. I shouldn't really put the camera on me at all along here because it is fascinating. It's like it's a glimpse of life, I think, that you don't often get to see. Hey man, how you doing? It's a glimpse of life you don't often get to see. It occurs to me, and I mean, I see pictures of along here from hey buddy, I see pictures from along here from about 100 years ago, and it's different but the same. So like the layout obviously is pretty much identical, but in a way it's not as busy, and it looks like they had trams here at one time, and it was a little less, shall we say, crazy. But as time's gone on, at this being Old Delhi, you've got a bit of everyone from here. There's everything here. Delhi's apparently such an old city that it's impossible to know when it was founded or when it started. It's a huge city and it's ancient. And so apparently a tour guide told me that it's practically impossible to know where it actually... No, thanks buddy. It's impossible to know where it actually originated from. These guys here in the orange, you see them all over the place. Hey, how you doing buddy? Good to see you, man. It's considered like an honour to buy them something to eat, and people do it. First time I heard it I thought no one's doing that, but they're always super friendly. You see people all the time going off and buying them just a cup of tea or a little jalebi or something. Jalebi's an interesting snack. It looks a bit like a pretzel, but it's a bit doughy, and it's so unbelievably sweet. Really, I quite like them. And it comes, you can get it with this like white custardy sauce. I can never remember what it's called, so I call it halabi. So I'll go up and say, "Could I have a jalebi with a halabi, please?" And they look at me like I'm on drugs, but it sounds something like that. Hey, man. It sounds something like that, but worth a try. But I wouldn't recommend eating a huge amount of it. I'd imagine you'd get diabetes quite quickly, but very, very delicious. There's a lot of the food here, you're not used to the look of it, so you see it and you think, oh, I don't know about that, and it's worth a try. Most of it's worth a go. There's a thing here, I always forget the name of everything, but I think it's called Pani Puri, and it's like, this is the Sikh temple, the Gurdwara, and it looks like, for some reason, like a big deep fried crispy ball, and you break it and you dip it into like a dal, and it's really nice. But I went into a little shop. They gave me one for free, and it was really big, about the size of a small melon. And so they said, here, you can have that. So I saw other people were kind of like karate chopping it and breaking it open. So I did that, and it had just come out the fryer, and this boiling hot steam came out of it, all up my hand, took all the skin off my hand. But there were these three really hard looking Sikh dudes in there watching me. So I had to pretend it didn't hurt, because I didn't want them to think I was a sissy. So I had to pretend like, oh yeah, I do that all the time, you know, this is nothing to me. And it bloody killed. And honestly, it took so much skin off, I was scarred for about a month. But I thought, well, at least those Sikh dudes don't think I'm a... Hey bro, how you doing? Good to see you, man. The people here are extraordinarily friendly. There's a disconcerting amount of friendliness, I find, and I don't want that to sound snobby or weird, but the Indians are, I mean, you come here and a lot of the people here are what you'd class as classically poor. This is not a wealthy area at all. It's about 5 miles from where I live, which is considered as a more affluent area. And you come here, bear in mind, Britain colonised this place and did some pretty appalling things here. You stole from them like you wouldn't believe. Hey man, completely rinsed their economy dry. The old adage that, oh, at least we gave them roads and railways doesn't really stick with me. I can't help but think, well, did we give them those roads? Here's a monkey. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by local wildlife here, but there's a little monkey. It's advisable not to look them in the eye. They take it as a threat and they go for you. So I'll be honest, I'm a bit wary of them. He's quite a small one. There was a massive pair of them outside my flat last night. and yesterday afternoon, and the landlord had to come out and chase them off with a stick. They were quite mean. But anyway, yeah, as I say, this whole thing about, well, we gave them roads and we gave them infrastructure and we gave them railways. Well, you can't help but think we were robbing the place. They were stealing. They were coming here and as the East India Company and taking en masse. And so what better way to get all the loot out of here, back home again, than to buy road and railway. So look at this, there's a bit of an altercation here with you've got that monkey and a dog. See what I mean? They can get quite mean. They show the teeth, the eyes get big. I stay away from them. Their hands are ludicrously strong. But that's life. I tend to hey, how you doing, man? Looking good. You look like Sammy Davis Jr. Yeah, so I often find them more friendly than I feel like I've got any right for them to be. But then who have I got the right to question how somebody chooses to encounter another? So it's a real dichotomy there. There's a real... I struggle with it. I mean, they were a colonised people, and they've chosen to get on with their lives and move on. It's mentioned to you as a Westerner here. I can only speak personally, but I've found it gets mentioned surprisingly little. But they rarely say, well, you guys came here and stole everything. So, and they don't use it to their advantage as such, to win arguments. They just kind of get on with it. But I remember I was in Vietnam, and I was talking to a Vietnamese fella, and he was saying how the French had done terrible things to them there, and the one side of Vietnam had done appalling things to the other side of Vietnam. And I said, do you not have like any feelings of more monkeys there? Monkeys everywhere, man. Monkeys. They're having a good old time of it. Beautiful, eh? Yeah. I'm not feeding them though. I'm not feeding these. How you doing, bro? And I said, do you not have any feelings of animosity towards the French or towards... And I'm not trying to drum it up, but you just wonder. And he said, no, because how are we going to move on? How are we going to get on with our lives and be anything if all we do is hold on to resentment? And as they say, it's a bit like climbing the monkey bars. You can't move forward unless you let go. And I respect that, and I do get it. But you do have that, maybe it's ingrained in us, just like it's ingrained in the soul of a person who's been colonised. Maybe you know that old joke, like the Harry Enfield character, the German, who can't meet anybody without saying, I feel I must apologise for the actions of my country in the war. And oh, ha, ha, and people laugh about that. But I've been to Berlin, and they do actually do that. Loads of people there do say, oh, Germans will bring it up, and you think, oh, hold on, I'm not thinking that. So maybe as a colonised people, it's ingrained into you, and as a colonised, as the descendants of colonisers, there's a bit of that. I don't want to get too deep on this, but there are times when the Indians are so friendly, so lovely, and they'll invite you into their house, they'll give you things that you don't necessarily want. But which is lovely, I'm not complaining. But there's sometimes an element of subservience, where you'll walk past and they'll salute you. They'll do this like salute thing. And if you're walking past a security guard, he'll jump out of his chair when he sees you because you're white. He'll jump out of his chair and be like, morning sir, morning sir. And I hate it. It just makes you want to cry. You feel like, oh, please don't do this, man. But if you try and address it, which is obviously as a human being you feel you should, so you'll say, oh, it's okay, you can calm me down. They won't have it, and it's like, and this makes me sad because I've had it with drivers before. Excuse me. I've had it with drivers, and you'll say, oh, hey man, don't open the door for me. I can open the door. Just call me down. And they're quite serious all of a sudden. They'll be like, no, this is my duty. And you feel bad then. You're like, oh, I'm not diminishing your role, and I'm not trying to make you feel lesser. And also it makes you wonder, has someone else done this to him and then stitched him up? Said like, oh, it's okay, you can call me Simon. Oh, I don't know why he spoke like that. But and then says, it's okay, don't worry man, it's all going to be fine. And then stitched him up and said, oh, the driver wasn't very subservient and polite. Look at this old building here. I don't know what this was. It was obviously some kind of government building, I'm guessing. But it's a, hey buddy, how you doing, man? Isn't it beautiful? There's so much abandoned beauty around Delhi. Old temples, old buildings, old churches, all kinds of things. So obviously a lot of them aren't abandoned, but the architecture here sometimes shocks you. You see, the architecture here reminds me a little bit of the Judge Dredd comic in Mega City 1, where you can kind of do what you want. So you'll have a really old building and then you'll have something really brutalist and blocked right next to it. And it works, it all works. But they like putting like a huge sign on the front of a building, which sounds obvious, but you'd notice it when you're here. You'll see like an enormous, very blocky sign on the front of a government building or the front. Whereas in the UK we don't tend to do that. You walk around looking for things, you might see one on the door, but here they'll put it right across the top, which is quite useful for a newcomer. But so, hello. Not so many dogs up here today. I don't know maybe the amount of monkeys has scared them off. First time I came here was on a food tour with a tour guide. And first time was with a tour guide, then I came back on a food tour and they took me down all these little alleyways, showing me these like really weird and some more delicious than other foodstuffs, things you just wouldn't imagine. But if you come here, I'd really recommend doing one. The food tours are really worth it. But as I say, it's not for everyone. I wouldn't recommend absolutely everyone that comes to Delhi, comes to Old Delhi. Bear in mind, as I say, today is super quiet. It's because it's so early. But if you were to give it like until 11 o'clock, it's shoulder to shoulder along here. It really, and like as I say, look, all of these stalls here, or shops rather, they're all closed. But later on, they'll all be open. You get lots of textiles, you get spices, you get lots of brass shops. You get it all. There's pretty much anything you could want here, kitchenware, everything. They're very open to haggling, more open than you are, or me, so I don't like doing it. I really don't feel comfortable. I just think if I can't afford the thing, I don't want the thing. But they take it as a challenge, and then I find it gets too awkward for me. So I do end up buying things I didn't really want, or I'm scared to ask the price of anything. But I did get a very nice brass Ganesh that I've got indoors, and it's quite heavy. It's quite a solid. You get a lot of this here, these sort of like alleyways that go off, and there'll be loads of stalls and shops on either side, and it's labyrinthine down there. You'll go down and it goes to another one and then another, and you can really easily get lost. It's a place not too far from here where I went one night because someone told me there was a really good gym there, like a boxing gym, and I thought, I'll take up boxing. Oh my god, it was honestly like a dark maze finding this place. Couldn't find it. Eventually did. But then all I noticed was every doorway had like women sitting in the doorway. And these guys aren't necessarily homeless, by the way. Some of them will be. Some of them are staff in the shops or staff in places, and they're waiting for the place to open for them to go in. There is a big homeless problem here though. But it's a city, you're going to get that. So I was walking around, there was all these women sat in every doorway, and they were really friendly. Every time I walked past, they were super friendly. And every dude I walked past would say like, hey man, every dude I walked past would say like, oh, what do you want? What are you doing here? Kind of aggressive. It was the first time I'd encountered it here, and I was like, oh, nothing. And eventually I said, I'm looking for the boxing club, and one of them brought me there. But I mentioned it at work a few days later to this Indian guy, and he said, you shouldn't go there. And I said, why not? And he went, it's really dodgy there. It wasn't, nothing happened. But I was like, oh, okay. And I said, there were loads of women actually, they were really friendly. And he said, yeah, it's a red light district. He said, all those women are like, women of the night. He said, and all those dudes are like, they're pimps. So that's why they're saying, what do you want? And I was like, oh, God. So I just never went back there again. I thought, I can't complain about how friendly everyone was. But I just thought, it's probably best I don't hang around in weird labyrinthine red light districts, isn't it? So I never went back again. But it all happens here. I always think with this place, because this part of town here is 24 hours. As I keep saying, I know it's quiet, but there's always something happening here. And I always think when I finally leave here and go somewhere else, this place will still be happening. This will still be, I know it's obvious, but it will still be happening. It's almost like, it's like going to another planet. It's like visiting another planet and experiencing a whole different way of living, a whole different way of life. And I know it sounds corny, and I don't want it to, but it is. I never wanted to travel. I was never interested in travelling. I never grew up with the intention to travel. I never went on holiday till I was in my 20s because I didn't see the point. I used to say, well, what's the point in that? You've got to come back again. And very ignorant way of life, but that's how I was. And then I came here and something switched. I was like, oh, hang on a minute. It didn't broaden my mind. People who say, oh, travel broadens your mind, I don't think I've ever found that, but it certainly opened it. It opened my mind to things, and it opened my eyes to things. And I mean, I've always pretty much just gone through life, you know, I do my thing, you do yours, I'm not interested. I'll do you no harm, you do me none. And I've always lived like that. But then you come somewhere like this, and you get, I think in the UK, you get used to a very pedestrian way of living. And you come somewhere like this, and it's so removed and so different that you can't help but have your eyes open. And you can't help but change. I'm not saying for the better, but you do change. You certainly get more confident. There's no way in the UK, for one, I'd walk around doing this before I came here, and there's no way I'd walk along saying, hey, how you doing, brother? There's no way I'd just walk along saying hello to people and hi, but most people here want to say hello. And the only time I've experienced that is living in Yorkshire. You can't walk down the street in Yorkshire without people saying hello, and I love it. And it's the same here. I've noticed that with travelling. You get elements that remind you of everywhere else. There's a lot here that reminds me of Ireland. A hell of it. And I really don't want people to think I'm walking along making fun or being rude or saying, oh, look at this looks like Ireland now. Because I see that all the time, and it annoys me a bit. I see things on the internet where there'll be clearly a scene from Nairobi or Addis Ababa or somewhere like that. And someone will put underneath, where in London was this filmed? And you think, isn't that funny? Just like whenever there's an atrocity and somebody writes, was it a doctor or an engineer? Like, oh God, yeah, because that was funny the first 15,000 times someone wrote it, wasn't it? So I'm not being like that at all, but there's elements here that remind me of Ireland, with the spirit, the courage, the love of joy, the love of life. That joie de vivre, as they say. And it is here. And I see it in the Irish, I see it in Ireland, and I see it here. The only difference I see is that the Irish don't tend to jump up from chairs and say, good morning, sir. Whereas this is still a thing here, which makes me wonder what the hell did the British do here to have them still so whipped like that. But I'm not getting into that. I've already spoken about it. But it has opened the eyes to colour, is another thing it's opened the eyes to. In the UK, we live in a very beige and grey... Who is this coming along? Hello, Daisy. We live in a very beige and grey world. Very white, grey, beige, sterile. And I don't think we notice it. You look at old things from the 70s, 80s, lots of browns, lots of oranges, lots of burnt umber. Here, every colour goes. Every colour goes. And I wonder, for one, what kind of a psychological impact does that have on you when you're just surrounded by colour? I mean, if you look at the streets here, you've got the colour of the fruit, the colour of the clothing, the colour of the buildings over here. Everywhere's colour. And every day you walk down the street here, everywhere you walk, there's colour. The clothing is brighter, the buildings are brighter, the fruit is brighter. And that has an effect on your brain. And I don't think you realise it at the time, but it does. And I do worry about going back to the sterile and grey, what effect that will have, a controversial effect, where I think depression seeks in, I think quite easily. Hey guys, how you doing, man? I think it's quite easy for that to happen. But I think in the West, I wonder in the West, do we have some kind of a fear of colour? Is there like a phobia of painting things and colouring things brightly? I don't know. I don't know what there is of that. But this is like you see these all the time. There's like obviously a fruit and vegetable market street. Around the corner there's a clothing market street. And it's just perfectly normal. It's just, you get a mix of everyone along here. And they're just coming down doing their weekly shopping. And the fruit sellers are usually either super friendly or really miserable. The ones where I live are really miserable. But then just weirdly, you come out where it's more local people, they tend to be quite friendly. So it's worth coming down here. It's worth coming down for a look about, have a little experience. It fires up all of your senses. I've been here several times. I've never been robbed. I've had one weird thing happen to me here, and that was where a man really deliberately rode a motorbike at me, like this fella coming down here who's riding like he shouldn't be on that. But he totally deliberately rode a motorbike at me. And when I said, don't do that, he said, I'm a police officer and you're in a lot of trouble now. What's your name and address? And he wasn't a police officer, he was just a troublemaker, you know. But that's literally the only thing I've ever had here. Might be proved wrong now when someone comes up and assaults me or something. But I do like it here, and I always feel like when I come here, your head's on a swivel the whole time. You're walking around, not in a bad way, you're just walking around head on a swivel because there's so much to take in. There's like things like this, you know, these like webs of wiring that go along. Spiders' webs of wiring. And then you get this underneath. A couple of old daisies having their breakfast. Oh yeah, they're not bothering anyone. Everyone's cool with them. Someone's giving them some hay to eat, so you know. Hey guys, how you doing? Obviously the cow's being worshipped here. They know they're under no threat. You imagine this in the UK though, if you're walking down the street and there's a cow in the middle of Beverly High Street. It'd make the news, wouldn't it? Here, it's just perfectly normal. People put food out for them. There's hay everywhere along here for the cow, and they'll come along and eat it. And I like that. The first time you see things like that, you're like, how is this society functioning? How is this working? And as Reeves and Norton would say, I don't know, but it just does. And it does. It really does. And it's none of your business either how it works, really, is it? It just does work. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to say I often come here for a walk, but I've been here several times for one. And I like it. I always come away feeling like I've been to the gym. You know that kind of head charge you get when you've done something quite heavy at the gym? I always come away from here feeling like that. I mean, you've got, hey daisies, there's tons of them. You know, it's not like one or two that you see here and there. There's a whole ton of them. And they just come out, they eat, they mix, they're part of society, they live. They kind of perform a service in a way because all the edible foodstuffs, hello darling, all the edible foodstuffs that are in that rubbish they'll eat. So it works, it all works. It's a bit like the circle of life, isn't it? I don't think I'd take up a career as a tour guide though. I'm quite an ill-informed tour guide. That's a good name for a proto-punk German techno band, isn't it? Ill-informed tour guide. They could compete with Rammstein. I had a tour guide in Turkey once, changing the subject slightly, who was the most ill-informed and irresponsible tour guide I've ever met. And he took me to Dalian. It was awful. It was like the worst experience of a tour guide. And at one point we're going on a boat at the river, and there were these two tombs on the top of a cliff, on a mountain rather. And he stopped the boat and he said, I want to show you these two tombs. They are very famous and they are completely inaccessible. And I said, oh okay. And I looked and there were two men walking around the two tombs, and I said, excuse me, you said they're inaccessible, but there's two people walking up there. And he went, yes, as I say, inaccessible. I was like, oh, okay. I said, what are they called? And he said, they are locally known as this one and the other one. I thought, this bloke's making this up as he goes along, isn't he? And he was. The crap that he came out with. And then we got to the Dalian mud baths that I thought was going to be like a natural spring of mud. And it's not. It's a swimming pool. It's an old swimming pool full of what can only be described as crap that stank. And I think years ago somebody built a swimming pool and accidentally wired it up to a sewage pipe. I probably shouldn't be saying this. And it filled with crap. Hey guys, how you doing? And it filled with crap. And someone said, oh no, my swimming pool's full of crap. And then his mate said, hey, how you doing guys? Good to see you, man. Very good. Sorry?
I'm from West Indies.
You're from where?
West Indies.
The West Indies. Whereabouts? Where? What is this?
Lalu Yadav ka Horlicks.
I don't know what this is. What is it? Oh, I do. You mix it with the lemon and make the drink with the black salt.
Drink.
Yeah. I'll come back in a bit because I haven't got my change on me, but I'll come back in a bit and get one. I will because they're good. They isotonic.
ये पीने से ना
Yeah.
body बनता है body ये पीने से.
Wow. I'll see you in a bit, guys. Take it easy, man. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I think his swimming pool accidentally filled with crap. And he's like, oh no, what am I going to do? And one of his friends, probably down the pub, said, oh, don't worry, just sell tickets and tourists will come and have a bathe in it. I don't think I'll be... I didn't go. I went, looked and said, I'm not going in. There was a German guy sat next to it and he said, if you go in that, you will get hepatitis. So I didn't go in. So as you can see, here's one of the traffic jams I was telling you about. So it's literally just some trucks loading up here. The tuk-tuks line up alongside. These dudes come along with the wagons. And you just calmly and patiently wait your turn to get through. And I think it's only because these things haven't got so many horns on them as the cars that they're not all going beep, 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 beep. But this is what happens. You'll be walking, and then there's a traffic jam. Hey, how you doing, man? This guy's transporting hens. Little buggers. Off to their certain doom. As you can see, there's you'll see things here like these wagons that are like something literally from like Victorian times. You see things here that you don't. The first time you see it, you think, does this still exist? Like if you saw old films of Covent Garden with the porters, they'd be pushing wagons just like this. They'd be pushing wagons along just like that. And that was how it was. And it still is. There's so many things here that are still like they were in Victorian times. And again, I don't want that to sound like I'm knocking it, because I'm not. It works. They seem to have here's some barbers. These are street barbers. I won't disturb him because he's got a razor in his mouth. But that's quite a common thing here. You get like different levels of barber. So you get the street barber like that, who just sits on a blanket on the ground and the customer sits in front of him. You get the next one up, he'll have a chair and a mirror tied to the wall. Oh look, still kicking off here. He's responsible for all of this kerfuffle. He's the man who stopped. These chaps here are livid. They're saying, what the bloody hell have you done? You've caused an enormous traffic jam in Chandni Chowk, and the free flow of traffic here must continue as normal. It never does. It's always blocking here. Hey, how you doing, guys? Good to see you, man. Hey, how you doing? Namaskar to you. It's, as I say, hey, how you doing, man? It's unusually friendly here, but maybe that's just because of coming from a Western perspective, where you just aren't used to people saying hello to you. Whereas here, they're not used to not saying hello to you. Hello, darling. It would be weird not to. But because, as with everything here, it's a land of extremes, it's either someone you won't expect being really friendly and saying hi, or someone you would expect to be quite friendly and professional ignores you, and you're like, oh, okay. But that's up to them, isn't it? Their mood on the day dictates. I'm not here to question. I don't know where I am, by the way. I always get lost here. I always walk around here, get completely lost, and then find myself having to stop someone and say, where's the Red Fort? Because that's my way out of here. That's like, because trying to get a car from here to get back home would be a fool's errand. So I don't, or you can't. Tough luck if you wanted to. You get the little tuk-tuks, but it's a bit far. So I always end up having to ask someone directions, and that can have some varied results. I asked someone here for directions once, and he said, oh yeah, I know where you go. I'm going there, come with me. So I thought, oh, brilliant. So we walked along, and he took me to a restaurant, and I said, that's not the Red Fort. And he said, no, but it's really good. And you look quite hungry, so why don't you get something to eat? Turns out it was his brother's restaurant, and he just walks around looking for tourists to take in there. But I did eat in there, and it was quite good actually. So, yeah, no, just take it all with a stride. Take it all in your stride, rough with the smooth and all that. But coming to a bit of a quieter bit here. That contradicts that, doesn't it? This whole area around here, I mean, you've got where I've just taken you now at Chandni, Chowk and around, but further off away, it's just, for a Sunday morning, it's hard to differentiate between street and market. It's like a street would just become a market, and much busier than where we've just been. I just drove up past it, and it's just, you can't quite work out why. There'll be a huge queue, and you think, oh, what's going on at the end of that? And there'll be a bloke selling jumpers or rugs. But, you know, that's obviously the order of the day. But I do like it. I like the insanity of this place. I like how it works. I like how it just seems to click along, you know. You've got a big, I'll show you this. Got the big St. Stephen's Church here. Red seems to be the order of the day around here. So you got the Red Fort and the Red Church. I think they just had a lot of red paint knocking about when they built a lot of this. What they do, looks like we've missed Holy Communion. The sung Eucharist. But it's I would definitely recommend coming here, not just to India, I would definitely recommend coming to India. If you've never been before and you can get here, get here. It's so vast, it's so varied and it's so vibrant that you're doing yourself a favour, I think, to come and have a look about it. And if you do come to India and you come to Delhi, definitely come down to Old Delhi, have a walk about, give yourself half an hour in the morning and just have a little strut about and see what you think. If you go by my experience, nothing happens. You just get said hello to a lot. You get these fellas on the bicycle rickshaws bothering you, coming up saying you need to get in this. Don't believe them, you don't. But I would recommend it. It's, as I say, it's a vibrant assault on the senses in a good way. You come away feeling like, well, I saw some things there that I didn't expect to see, and possibly that I'll never see again. Hey, how you doing, man? Good to see you. You see things that you've never seen before, possibly never see again, and give yourself something to talk about when you get home. So, give it a crack. I'm going to sign out now, I think. I think that's come to the end of our walk and coming to the end of this bit here I think I can get home from. So, thanks for joining me. It's been a nice walk. And until next time... So I'm just looking this across over. Yeah, until next time, we'll see you next week. Hey, how you doing, man? Just going up here. No, it's okay, I'm just walking. I know, very good, thank you. Maybe next time we'll go to India Gate and have a look around there, seeing as we seem to have started doing touristy things, which I said we wouldn't do, but nothing's carved in stone, is it? We'll give it a crack. Until next week, thank you, and remember, walk tall.